It's nighttime. You are driving alone. Long, empty highways. The kind where headlights only show you pieces of the road at a time. Trees. Telephone poles. Fog drifting across the asphalt. And somewhere behind you, a stranger breathing quietly in the dark. Now imagine being a college student in California during the early 1970s. You're hitchhiking home. A huge man pulls over beside you. Polite voice. Friendly smile. You look inside the car. You're thinking, it looks safe. You decided to hop in, and for a while, everything feels normal. When the reality is, you are completely alone with someone who has already imagined your death, long before you ever opened the passenger door. Tonight, we are going to talk about the Mindhunter killer, Edmund Kemper. Welcome to the podcast you can't unhear. Ed Kemper's story doesn't really begin with murder. It begins with emotional rot. Slowly. The emotional rot that grows quietly inside a house for years, until nobody inside remembers what normal love is supposed to look like anymore. Edmund Emil Kemper III was born in California in 1948. And from the beginning, he already stood out physically. Huge baby. Huge child. By 4 years old, he towered over other kids his age. His father was over 2 meters tall. His mother almost 6 feet. The whole family felt physically oversized somehow. And honestly, I think that matters psychologically. Because Ed spent his entire childhood being treated like something frightening before he actually even became frightening. His home life felt cold. Not dramatic movie scene cold, just emotionally exhausting. His parents fought constantly. His mother, Clarnell, drank heavily. His father emotionally disappeared inside the marriage. And the atmosphere inside the house sounded less like a family and more like people surviving each other. Ed later described his mother as humiliating, controlling, the kind of person who could cut someone down with a single sentence. And we've seen this before. Some of the scariest damage parents do to children isn't physical. It's repetition. Being told over and over, you are strange. You are unwanted. You are broken. Eventually, the child stops fighting it. They become it. As a kid, Ed already showed disturbing behavior. Pulling apart dolls. Burying animals. Playing games where he pretended to die in electric chairs or gas chambers. Imagine a kid playing that. It's a bit strange. And what's eerie is how quiet all of it feels looking back. Not explosive violence. Just strange little warning signs accumulating slowly inside this isolated boy. There's one moment from his childhood that really stayed with me. When Ed was young, he apparently had a crush on a teacher. His sister teased him and jokingly said, "Well, why don't you kiss her?" And Ed replied, "If I kiss her, I'd have to kill her first." That line feels horrifying now, but back then? People around him mostly dismissed these moments as weirdness. Society does that sometimes. We assume dangerous people always arrive loudly, but sometimes they arrive quietly, through patterns nobody wants to look at too closely. When his parents divorced, things got even worse. Ed moved with his mother and sisters, and the loneliness inside him started becoming darker. He began harming animals more seriously. One family cat, then another. At one point, he buried a cat, then dug it back up later. Just thinking about a child alone outside at night digging through dirt, searching for something dead, already feels like the beginning of a horror movie. But real life rarely announces horror that clearly while it's happening. To everyone else, Ed was just the weird, oversized kid nobody fully understood. His mother eventually became afraid of him herself, which created this really disturbing emotional loop. The more isolated he became, the more disturbed he became. And the more disturbed he became, the more isolated everyone made him. Eventually, she forced him to sleep locked inside the basement at night. Imagine being a teenage boy, already struggling psychologically, sleeping alone underground every night, while resentment slowly ferments inside your head. At 15, Ed ran away to his father, hoping things would improve. But his father had a new family now, a different life. A softer version of himself Ed had never really received growing up. That rejection probably hurt more than people realize. Because children notice very quickly when someone becomes kinder to others than they ever were to you. Soon after, Ed was sent to live with his grandparents on an isolated farm in North Fork, California. And this is where the atmosphere of the story changes completely. Because now everything feels rural, quiet, dusty roads, old wood houses, fields stretching endlessly under grey skies. The kind of loneliness where you can hear wind moving through trees for miles. Ed spent his days hunting birds and small animals with a rifle his grandfather gave him. And according to Ed, his grandmother constantly criticized him too, just like his mom. Another voice making him feel small. Another house where he felt trapped. Over time, violent fantasies started becoming obsessive. Not occasional thoughts anymore, constant ones. Like his mind had become a room he couldn't escape from. Then, in 1964, everything finally erupted. Ed was 15 years old. He argued with his grandmother in the kitchen. At one point, he walked away, calmly, retrieved the rifle, and came back to kill his own grandmother. The terrifying thing is how emotionally cold the sequence feels. No cinematic rage, no screaming, just years of resentment finally reaching the surface. Afterward, he waited quietly for his grandfather to come home, then killed him too. He dragged his grandfather's body to the garage, and he called his mother to tell her everything. His mother, shocked, and told him to report to the police. And when police later asked why he did it, Ed said, "I wanted to know what it felt like." That sentence genuinely feels like ice, because it sounds less emotional and more experimental. Ed was sent to a psychiatric institution. Doctor determined he had a very high IQ and diagnosed him with paranoid schizophrenia, though later experts debated that diagnosis. He stayed in there for a while, behaving well, functioning. Eventually, they released him. By the time he returned to society, Ed Kemper had become enormous. Over 6'9", more than 300 pounds. People called him Big Ed. And weirdly, most people liked him. That's one of the most unsettling parts of this story. He wasn't socially invisible anymore. He was articulate, funny, polite. He hung around police officers at bars and became friendly with them. Some officers even gave him training badges and handcuffs as jokes. In 1971, he got a job with the State of California Division of Highways. So he moved back to live with his mother again. But their relationship remained terrible. Neighbors could hear them fighting constantly. His mother was hesitant to show him affection because she feared it would make him gay. She was also passive-aggressive, telling him things like, "No one will ever love you," while also pushing him to find a girlfriend. This confused Edmund and made him feel that women were very difficult to understand. Eventually, Edmund saved enough money to move out and live with a friend in an apartment in Alameda. The same year he began working for the highway department, Kemper was hit by a car while on his motorcycle. During his recovery, he began planning something sinister. He studied police procedures by watching TV shows and film. He learned how to avoid suspicion and even made his car look similar to a police car. At first, Ed tested himself. He started picking up hitchhikers, but letting them go safely afterward. About 150 women entered his car and survived. And during all of this, Ed was studying people, practicing conversations, learning how to sound trustworthy, almost rehearsing humanity. Then on May 7th, 1972, something changed forever. 2 college students entered his car, Marianne Pesce and Anita Lucchesa. They wanted rides to Stanford. Instead, Ed drove them deep into a wooded area he knew from his highway job. California forests at dusk, tall trees, no nearby traffic, the last orange light disappearing through branches. 2 girls realizing too late that the road keeps getting emptier. That was the beginning. Afterward, the murders continued. More hitchhiking students, more isolated roads, more bodies returned to his apartment for dismemberment and desecration. And through all of it, his relationship with his mother kept rotting in the background like an infected wound. They fought constantly. Neighbors could hear screaming through the walls. His mother insulted him relentlessly, told him women would never love him, treated affection like weakness. And honestly, I think people oversimplify Ed Kemper when they reduce everything to he hated his mother. Because the terrifying part is that he also desperately wanted her approval. That contradiction poisoned everything. Love mixed with humiliation. Need mixed with resentment. Eventually, the women he targeted became symbolic stand-ins for the rage he couldn't direct safely at her. Then came April 1973, the final collapse. Late at night, Ed's mother went to sleep after another fierce argument. The house became quiet. Quiet houses at night always feel heavier after people fight, like anger still sitting inside the walls. Ed waited until she fell asleep. Then, he entered her room carrying a hammer. What happened afterward became one of the most infamous crimes in American history. Not because it was the bloodiest, but because it felt deeply personal. Intimate hatred. Years of rage compressed into one room, one night, one victim. And afterward, Ed stayed inside the house with her remains, talking to them, yelling, throwing darts. That part doesn't even feel like murder anymore. It feels like psychological collapse fully materialized. Then, Edmund left the house and went to a bar, drinking, as if nothing had happened. Then he called his mother's best friend, Sally Hallett, inviting her over to eat and watch a movie, as if trying to create one final normal evening before reality completely shattered. When Sally arrived, he immediately strangled her, molested her core, and hid her body in the same closet where he stored his mum's remains. Eventually, Ed fled California, driving for hours through endless highways, barely sleeping, living off caffeine pills and paranoia. And then something strange happened. Nobody came after him immediately. No police swarming highways. No dramatic chase. Just silence. And I honestly think that silence broke something inside him. Because after all those years of obsession, after all the fantasies, after all the violence, he suddenly realized he felt empty. The purpose was gone. So Ed called the police himself and confessed. At first, they thought he was joking. Eventually, Edmund Kemper confessed to 8 murders. I think what makes his story linger isn't just the violence. It's the loneliness surrounding all of it. Every stage of his life feels emotionally isolated. The farmhouse, the basement, the empty highways, the late-night drives, the apartments filled with silence. Even his crimes feel lonely somehow, like someone trying to fill a psychological void that kept expanding no matter what he fed into it. And maybe that's the scariest part. Because monsters in movies usually feel distant from humanity. Ed Kemper doesn't. He feels painfully human in all the wrong ways, capable of understanding what he became without fully understanding why he became it. As always, stay safe out there, guys. See you on the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.